أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الذين كفروا سواء عليهم أأنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون ختم الله على قلوبهم وعلى سمعهم وعلى أبصارهم غشاوة ولهم عذاب عظيم صدق الله العظيم. Ladies and gentlemen, dear listeners, Assalamu alaikum. Some critics raise the objection that they find frequent references in the Quran pertaining to God sealing the hearts of disbelievers. Of those who disbelieve, God has sealed their hearts. And they say, if God has sealed our hearts, then what fault is it of our own? We are not guilty because God has sealed our hearts, and we are not guilty for unbelief. This objection of theirs is a result of not looking at the Quran very carefully. The Quran is not a book that is meant to be studied in a superficial manner. We have to notice what is the meaning of every word there is, what is its exact grammatical construction, and then form our conclusions. You cannot just skim through a translation and then form your conclusions. You have to probe deeper. You have to go to the Arabic text if you can. If you can't, then you need to ask those who are knowledgeable. The ayat, the verses that are recited in the beginning, are from Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter number 2, and verse number 6 and 7. In these ayat, Allah says, Inna lazina kafaru, as for those who reject faith. I am reading Yusuf Ali's translation. As to those who reject faith, Inna lazina kafaru, as to those who reject faith, Sawa'un alayhim anzartahum am lam tunzirhum. It is the same to them, whether thou warn them or do not warn them. La yu'minun, they will not believe. Khatamallahu ala qulubihim, Allah has set a seal on their hearts. Wa ala sam'ihim, and on their hearing. Wa ala absarihim ghishawa, and on their eyes is a veil. Wa lahum azabun azim, and great is the penalty they incur. People can object that, look, if God has sealed the hearts, then what is their fault? If you notice the beginning of this verse, it says, Innal lazina kafaru, as for those who have rejected. The word kafaru is in fail mazi. Fail mazi is the perfect tense. That means it is denoting an action. It is not that God has predetermined the fate of unbelievers. How God's law works is, when you take an action, that sort of a law applies on you. If you commit kufr, if you actively reject God's guidance and you are bent upon it continuously, then God will set a seal on your heart. So it's up to you. You know, what sort of action you choose, what sort of a decision you make, you are going to be held accountable for your choices. The word here is Innal lazina kafaru. The word kafaru is a verb. Those who have rejected, those who have rejected, who have actively done an act. So once an act has been done, then the law applies. We see example of this in many passages of the Quran, that Allah, He gives a punishment after somebody has taken a conscious action. He has done something willingly and in full with full consent and a conscious awareness of that. When that happens, then the law applies. Similarly, righteous deeds are also rewarded when they are done consciously. So the law of Allah is that when you do an act, then the law applies. It's not that God has predetermined your fate. He has sealed it, even before you were born. That is not like that. When you do an act, then the punishment or the reward applies. The actions, they come first. Inna lazina kafaru, most surely those who have rejected, who have done that act. Sawa'un alayhim, it is alike to them. Anzartahum am lam tunzirhum, whether you warn them or you do not warn them. When this is the state that they are bent, they are absolutely obstinate in their rejection of God's guidance, then this happens. So ladies and gentlemen, we should not jump to conclusions, rather we should study the Quran carefully, and we should explore themes of the Quran. What is not clear to you in one ayah, you should relate that with other ayat for that subject as well. Understand the Quran by the Quran itself. God will give you guidance. Allah will open your heart to guidance. Thank you for listening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.